What's up guys, Jerome here from the Bonsai Supply, and today I'm going to show you how to get a really fat trunk on your desert rose. Alright, so this desert rose that I have here in front of me is a swazicum, and as it sits right now, it is fairly uninteresting because it has a very skinny calyx and it's very tall and all the foliage is up here. So you could, I could potentially wire this first branch here and turn it into a cascade. Or I could just put some movement into this branch and turn it into a nice literati, which means that all the foliage is up here, which would be perfect for this. But my plans are a little different because I want to develop this calyx and get a really thick and really cool, interesting calyx, because that's what desert roses are best known for, to have these gnarly, burly calyxes. So that's what I'm going to go here for today. So to thicken up the trunk or the calyx of this desert rose, I'm going to have to go ahead and repot it. But the first step is to remove all the foliage off the tree, because that will help the tree to come back with much more energy and much stronger. So I just pull the leaves back like that, and I just defoliate it. Now prior to this video, I stopped watering this tree about 2 weeks ago. So the soil is bone dry, so I know it's a good time for me to go ahead and do this work. Okay. Alright, so after defoliating the tree, I'm going to go ahead and take it out of its current pot. I'm going to be very careful, and as you can see, the soil is already falling apart, and that's because it's bone dry here. And this is exactly what you want when you go about repotting a tree. Alright, so I'm going to remove as much of the black soil as possible just by hand, because I want to pot this into a bigger pot and use really good bonsai soil. It's a big nursery pot, and I'm actually going to submerge most of the calyx into the pot so that it can really thicken up. Because an adenium is kind of like a potato where it grows under the ground. So above the ground, it's not going to thicken up as fast and as much as if I were to submerge it. And so it is important that you use good free draining bonsai soil. And I like to use ours because the one that we use, because it helps with the water drainage really well, but it also absorbs the nutrients when I fertilize. The pot with soil, I go in stages, and I like to work out the air pockets as I fill in the soil. So air pockets are little areas within the soil that are not filled with soil, and those areas, they store too much air and too much water, which is going to be the #1 cause of root rot. So I want to make sure that I wiggle out all of the air pockets and just make sure that the soil is very compact. So I just use a chopstick, drive it into the soil, and just work out all of the air pockets like that. Soil all the way up to the rim of the pot, and I just leave this little antenna here exposed. So now I'm going to take this tree and move it outside and keep it in the shade and wait another week before I start to water. And then I start to water once a week, and once I see new foliage emerge, then I'm going to start to water every 3 days. The more foliage I have, the more I have to water. I'm also going to focus the next 2 years on fertilizing a lot, keeping the tree really healthy, watering a lot so that the trunk can really expand. And in about 2 years' time, this entire pot is going to be filled out with a really big calyx. Alright, so there's also another technique that I wanted to share with you guys, which is instead of potting the tree right away in order for it to thicken up, you can actually take a desert rose and keep it in the shade. I usually like to hang it somewhere, and you can keep it there for about 5-6 months to completely let it dry out. And once it starts to shrivel up and you then pot it, it starts to thicken up so fast, actually a little bit faster than this technique, but for video purposes I went this route obviously. But the other technique you can also use of letting it dry out completely, but that one takes a lot of patience. I actually get this question quite a lot on how I can thicken up my desert rose trunk a lot, and I really hope that I was able to explain to you guys how you can easily do that. If you guys have some more questions on thickening up trunks or have questions on other tropical species, just comment below and let me know, and I will catch you guys next time.
All right.